So the last couple days, we really haven't done much with talking about the Tesla Uber driving program. I've gotten used to the car. Uh, I'm going to say a couple good things. The turning radius is great. It's fairly easy to park because it's all got, a great way to, um, the cameras do really well. Uh, Major flaws, uh, in order to supercharge to the point where it's only going to take 20, 40 minutes, whatever percentage you are at, out of your day to recharge, is St. Charles. Where else, honey?
Um,
There's a place in
South
Illinois.
South South City or South County, and
I don't know. Anyway, for
so there's
those of
like
you who don't know,
four or five locations.
there's 4 or 5 locations in Missouri. Kansas City, I think they have one. Uh, there's only 4 supercharging stations. So anybody who's in the Midwest, and do your research, find out where your supercharging stations are. Because if you don't, you could end up at a station that it takes 8 or 9 hours and you've just blown your day. But you have to figure out some way to recoup the 660 you put in. Don't believe that 388, 660 that you have put in, you have to figure out how to recoup it. So uh, unless you have some magical supercharging thing in your house, that's not going to work. That would be the way it would work, is if you could do it in your house, and it maybe eats $6 to $7 of your electricity a night, which is, or um, it'll show up on your electric bill. So there's that. Also, I kept complaining about there's only 2 cup holders. Well, I had a passenger that found 2 more, but it's hidden in the seat. Like, it takes up that third seat. So, you know how you have 3 seats in the back? Because I'm driving what am I driving? The 3?
Yeah, Model 3.
Model 3. So you have 3 seats in the back. 1, 2, 3. That third one in the middle folds down, and you have drink holders. But you've also lost a place for a passenger to sit as well. So if someone gets in with a big gulp, they have to hold it between their legs, or their coffee, or whatever it is that they're bringing in the car. They have to hold it in between their legs. I did have a couple of things that I was concerned about tested. I did have a couple with a baby. Car infant seat, they put it in correctly. They were able to make it work, put it in that middle seat. Each one was on the outside. Their baby was 7 months old, and they knew how to put in an infant car seat. So those of you who still refuse to use car seats for your children, you're assholes. Moving on. So, and I will not pick you up. So don't even try it. But also, I picked up a guy, and a tall guy, probably, over 6 feet, and he had a walker. And I don't know, I'm not a nurse, but to me it looked like basically a stroke patient, but a pretty recovered one. It seemed to have like some right-sided weakness, but was able to get down, even though he's tall, able to get down low. And my point is, he had a walker, and that was pretty tall, and it did fit in the back of the car. Now, what if I have a patient, though, that has a wheelchair and a walker? That would probably be a different story. I don't know. I miss my car terribly. But, there's flaws in both of them. Having an all-electric car really does it, and a rental, because now I can't drive for Lyft and for Uber, so I'm not getting as many rides, so the job isn't nearly as sustainable. I have to drive 7 miles out of my way, generally, on the average, to get to a supercharger, where if I'm in St. Louis, I can go a couple miles and be where I need to be, fill up within a half an hour. Maybe I'm taking a break, eating some candy or going to the bathroom or whatever it is I want to do. But I can get back on the road when I'm ready. I can't do that. You have to, if you're at a supercharger, then you have to walk to a store or whatever's closest. It's not convenient. And that's, a lack. We don't have the tools to use this properly yet. And it doesn't make sense, because originally I think we would get free electrical charging for some of these people. It was an effort to bring back, to get away from gas and do a more greener thing, whatever. They don't do that anymore. It's about, if you're on, like, say 10%, you go to 100%, but it doesn't charge up to 100%. It only charges up to what, 92%? And that's going to cost you, and I don't know why that is. That'll cost you about $20, which is cheaper than gas, but it's not as convenient. And we all know that we need convenience, because it hinders us every minute we're not online. And it's just, it's hard. And the cameras, they've got 6 cameras or whatever. Doesn't matter if it's raining. Doesn't matter if it's dirty or if it's snowing or if it can't see the lines on the road. That nothing, those cameras don't work, and there's a ton of blind spots in that Tesla. So I'm just trying to get to Tuesday, hopefully make a profit, and then, but it's not going to be much. It's not going to be much at all. I don't know what night drivers, if it works for them or not, but really in the Midwest, it's not a practical suggestion. California, probably. Washington, probably. But you still have the problem of the cameras getting messed up, and the roads aren't electric friendly yet. Potholes and stuff like that. And it sees things too late. Like, several times I've gone to get over and it won't beep at me, and because I have all these blind spots, I've almost merged into a semi. I mean, this is not an okay car to have. Don't rely on it at all for any kind of visual verification. But that's kind of true with any car with cameras. So they're helpful, but they're not reliable in emergency situations. So, but you shouldn't be driving in an emergency situation anyway. So, but if I ran out of gas, or if I ran out of electricity, right? I'm in Missouri. I have run out of electricity, say on I-70, right? There's no place for me to charge it. I am now stranded on I-70 with no way to get anywhere except for possibly wait for a tow truck. We have a good tow truck system out here, and I'll tell you about it. They are considered emergency vehicles. So everyone has to move over to the right to let them through, which is, even though we probably have a lot more car accidents, we can get them off the road faster. And we have a lot more side freeways to take. It doesn't even matter if one's closed. We can go a different route and be a minute off, which is really nice. So our roads, our freeway system is really efficient. But Teslas are not Missouri friendly yet, and that's on Tesla, because I believe they're the ones in charge of putting up the chargers, and it's probably because they don't consider us. I think it's actually because the gas is so cheap out here. They don't have to do it, but now the gas prices are going up. I'm putting, I was putting $85 a day, and then I cut it down to $40, but now I have to drive less in order to make a profit. So I have to do a new equation. I can't even figure out the equation with the Tesla and the supercharging and the rental and whatever. Basically, you have another car payment every week. Now, because Chrysler is supposed to be paying for our rental, but this was our first week doing it. Then we have to turn all the receipts in, and then we'll probably get a check theoretically 5 days, 5 to 7 days afterwards. But that means every time we go to rent a car, we have to re-put down that $200 security part thing and pay for extra insurance because Uber doesn't cover everything, and you have to get supplemental insurance anyway. So it's going to come to $660. At least I drove the Model 3, and I think that's the cheapest one. And it's just like, this is our first time. We've had such a bad experience with Chrysler. And there's other places, there's other cars that are having this problem. Anything with an LG battery, people are down. This is not a good substitute, especially, at least with Chrysler, they have a partnership with Enterprise. You can only get the Tesla deal through Hertz if you're an Uber driver. So that doesn't help. Kind of helps because Chrysler still says they'll pay $60 a day. If it's not Enterprise, they'll still do that. I'm still out of money. I don't have that, the idea of pushing that button and having money available to you on a daily or hourly basis, whatever you need it for, is no longer there. You have to wait for the car to expire, and then, it's a whole different thing. And I hate rental car places, and this one is no better. It's just a big mess. This is not an experiment that should be done in a place where there's only 4 superchargers. And the answer to all of this would be have a hybrid car that went 215 miles and had, a gas tank. Our Chrysler handles almost 400, right, Tom? 400 miles?
Yeah.
On a full tank. So I could drive all day, but if I need to drive to Kansas City and get back, forget it. So I would have to stop, drive a passenger as far as I could go, maybe to the next supercharging station, and then have someone else come in, pick them up. It's not a good, out here it's not really promising. California, you're not going far distances, well, generally. So I just don't like it. But, if I was using my electric at 215, I would basically have 600 miles. When that 215 ran out, I'd still have enough gas to get to a supercharging station or a gas station or get lunch or whatever. And I could stay online. That's like 600 miles, right? A day, 600 plus a day. You could do a lot of driving and, without having to stop for gas or for electricity. That's the answer. And more drink holders. It's really a necessity, and screens for children so that they are not a distraction in the back and they're looking at something, they're interested and engaged with something other than the driver or whoever else. What else don't I like? Oh, you can't even imagine. Okay, so those of you who have HDMI ports or, the little cigarette light, and what is it called? The USB ports, right? That you plug into. They don't have that. All they have are these C. It's bizarre. These C inserts. So you have to get, say you have an iPhone. You need to get to charge your phone, say in the back. You need to charge your phone. You have to get a C charger that adapts to the Apple charger, and then it doesn't matter. The C's are the least popular, or not popular, but that's the least amount. Well, tell me, Tom. Less people. There are far less people that have a C charger.
Yeah, the the previous standard was a standard for 35 years, and they've changed it only probably in the last 5 years to the C, maybe even more recently. So it's all of the existing cords have to be replaced, and I have yet to find a Type C to Mini A or Mini B, which is the ones that recharge the portable batteries. I can't find one of those.
Yeah, so if you're
So
looking
you
for an extra
can't.
power bank. But
Yeah, you can't
Tesla has
charge
thought
that.
of everything, and
Have
you
they?
have a wireless charging thing up front
Yeah.
that you can just put your phone on. You don't need any cords.
Sure.
Except for if you're an Uber driver, you can't, I don't know how to connect to the main screen to see anything. If you can figure that out, kudos to you. But my flat screen is here. My driver's wheel is here. The road is here, but I have to look down here. And it's the biggest blind spot in the car to read a phone down below you. And then I'm taking my eyes off the road to do that, which is why there were so many tears. I knew that before we even left the parking lot at Hertz. We had to go out, buy a new charger, had to buy new cords, and everything. So $660 at the dealership, and then you add another, what, Tom? What did we pay to make the car work? A usable car for Uber.
Well, it's like $20 for the mount, and then we already had the cables here, so we had to drive home.
Okay, but most people are gonna have
But
to
if
get.
you had to drive them, they're probably, I would say at least $10 a piece, so another $40. Just
And that's if you get them at Target. One gal said go to Five Below, but I don't think they have the chargers. Tom's tech, so he's got all these bells and whistles. This car, and I will say it over and over again, is good for a single man who's good with technology and understands and knows where all the chargers in the world are. Because I was being taken to charging stations that weren't supercharging stations and not being able to figure out how to pay for it. There's no place that I could figure, because you don't have the app when you're renting the car, right? So you can't do a lot of the stuff. You can't start the car virtually. You can't there's no sliding doors, and the handles are flush. I have passengers who are having a hard time just opening the doors, and the windows roll down to a certain point, so you can even get out of the car, and people are like, what's this? And I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with this car, but that's what it does. So I'm used to that stuff, but it's really for a single man who is good at tech, not trying to impress a single mom, and who isn't an Uber driver or a Lyft driver. This is not a sensible car to do this in. And I just hope that with this video, that the Uber drivers pay attention and investigate some of the things I'm saying, and if they can figure it out, fine. But we are not so advanced that this is worthwhile in our area. And it's a show-off car. It's not, oh, look, I have money. That's all it's saying to anybody. So if that's important to you, feel free, and you're willing to have the inconvenience of it, feel free to go out. But I suggest it would be cheaper to buy the car than to rent it every week. But then you have the problem of getting it fixed. No one else can fix it but Tesla. You can't buy parts in an AutoZone or whatever, for those of you who are good with cars. A lot of mechanics don't know how to fix these cars. So if you get in a crash, guess what? Only way to get another Tesla is to buy another Tesla. And that's if the insurance company considers it a total loss. So if they don't, then, and I've read stuff where it could take 6 weeks to even get them to look at it. So it's a very impractical way of doing anything. If you don't have the money to fix stuff on this car, don't buy it. you know, if, yeah, we're not set up for it here. It doesn't work. I would have better things to say if I did have a supercharging station, at all the gas stations. I would have less to say. Um, if it was, if it had different outlets to charge your phone, I would have different things to say. If it had a uh, more visibility and cameras that, well, if they don't work, I still need better visibility to do my head checks and stuff and not have something in the way. What else would I want? I would want, yeah, and it's got to be a hybrid, because when one kind of fuel, whether it's electric or solar or whatever, fails, you have a backup. And I don't know how many of you want to get stranded on the side of the road with or without kids. Uh, there's a lot of expense if something happens to that car. Also, but the car cameras in the front are taping people inside the car, so if they do anything, that's reportable to Uber, like a threat, and you can usually get the front ones to work, and that is good for, like, if there's a crash, that's good. But you can buy that stuff at Car Toys and have it set up. And how much does it cost for video cameras, Tom?
Oh, they're like $20 on Amazon or something.
Yeah, so still cheaper. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get that $200 back, because no one is yet to smoke in my car, which would be a $400 charge if someone smokes in that car. Can't take pets. You barely take service animals, according to Hertz. That was an argument, but it is illegal for us to deny it, but it could cost us a huge amount of money for them to clean it if they figure out that we did do that. No one else in your family can drive it, even if they're on Uber or Lyft and they know how to drive a Tesla better than you. They still can't do it. It has to be your credit card with your money on it. It cannot be your husband's helping you out or anything. So for me, it was impractical. And if you still really want a Tesla to drive for Uber, I suggest you buy it yourself, and then you can do whatever you want. Someone smokes in the car, you don't have to pay $400. If you want to take a pet around, that's not a problem. Oh, and by the way, you know how we all get $1 extra for comfort or whatever? Uber gets $7 extra, and they're giving us $1. So that's ridiculous. So driving comfort or green or anything like that doesn't do anything really to benefit you guys. It's really benefiting them, which is why it's such a hard sell. Oh, you get $1 extra for every trip. Like, that makes a difference, So just be aware. And those of you who are writers, you do not have to tip us. But if you do decide to tip us, keep in mind, when you're getting a $60 ride, we're probably only getting a $20 ride at this point. It used to be 25%, but, they're getting 75% of our profits, not us. So for those of you who have been driving for 6+ years, by now I'm sure you know this, but when I look at a kid's phone to set them up for Uber Rider and I see that Uber's getting 7 and I'm getting 1, I have lost a lot of faith in the company as a whole. I'm very disappointed that they're trying to do this. But I still need the cash every day, but I can't get the cash every day because it's tied up in a rental. So I don't know how much money I'm going to actually have, if I'm going to overdraw my account or what's going to happen. And I didn't have $660 on my Uber card to, have that $100 protection. So So I had to use my personal. Um, so, I mean, if Chrysler reimburses us, fine, but we have to return it in every week, put in that $200. And even though Tom loves it, he's not driving it. He's not driving it for 8 hours trying to pick people up. So I'm just warning those of you, maybe it's a fun car to drive, but financially in this area of the country, it is not feasible. And I think that's my conclusion. I don't think I'm going to tape anymore. We're turning it on Tuesday. And I'm not going to do it again. So not interested. It was a disaster. We were, even though we had a reservation for 10, we weren't out of there until 2. My whole day was wasted. You know, and that could have been a $200 day. And even if I put $85 in the tank, but I put myself at 40 now. So that is my limit per day. So if I put 40 in, I made 200, I still have $160 profit. I have no idea what my profit is until the end of the week. So 160 is better than waiting a week. I know there's some people that like to wait a week to see what happens and get that then, but I don't have time for that. So anyway, my suggestion, if you live in Missouri, probably not a good idea. Our gas is $4.89. It's right now a gallon. I know that's up a huge amount from a couple years ago. It was what, $1 something?
$1.65.
$1.65 2 years ago. And this is a capitalism thing. It's not a war thing. It's a capitalism thing. And California, I think,
This is like
$8, $9. Yeah.
That makes more sense. Gas savings over there are probably much better.
It's definitely.
Here it's kind of like on the border of the hassle.
Yeah, but the hassle is losing your time. I lost a lot of time driving this week. Yet I have to keep going. So it's 4th of July weekend, and I'm probably going to have to drive from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. so I can get home to enjoy dinner and fireworks with my kids. So I don't think I'll be doing this again. Hopefully the car manufacturers will figure shit out and make a car that can do both and sell it for a reasonable price so that people can be greener than what they have been. But they need to, and the system is not in place yet where it is profitable for Missouri drivers, especially those who have other things going on other than driving. So sorry guys, sorry to be a bummer, but I don't want you to have to go through this either. So totally boring, but bad for you. 2 thumbs down.